Hi, and welcome to your first voice lesson with me, Amy. Today we're going to focus on laryngeal stability and an open throat. So before we begin, I want you to just close your eyes and take some deep breaths. You can breathe at whatever pace feels good for you. It doesn't have to be a singer's breath. You don't have to think about your diaphragm. Just let the air flow in naturally and flow out naturally. And when you're ready, we're going to start incorporating a Z sound on the exhale. So you're going to inhale normally and exhale. So just a Z sound in the lower part of your voice, down like the lowest part of your speaking voice, really. And we're just speaking it, we're not singing it. So again, inhale. At whatever pace is natural for you. I want you to feel where that Z sound happens for you. Where is the sensation? For me, it's really low in the throat and it's in my chest. Letting the jaw relax. Letting the tongue relax in the mouth. And now we're going to start adding some pitch to that Z sound. So it's going to go like this. So 1, 2, 1, 5, 1. And again, I want you to breathe naturally. It doesn't have to be a singer's breath. It doesn't have to be breathing from the diaphragm. This can really feel natural and comfortable and human for you. So I want you to feel like you're tapping into your speaking voice more than your singing voice as we do this. Now imagine that your esophagus is a tree trunk and it has rings. And I want you to envision those rings expanding as you sing this Z sound. Now, along with those expanding rings, I want you to imagine that the tree extends down all the way to the pelvic floor and it has roots. So connect into your pelvic floor. If you're seated, connect into your seat and visualize those roots going down as the trunk grows out. We're going to start right back here with our Z sound. Thinking expansive in the neck. Roots going down. And as we get a little bit higher, I want you to try to keep the sensation that you feel on the first Z sound. Keep that same sensation as you move to the second pitch. So rather than letting everything sort of shift and change as you go to pitch number 2, I want you to just think of a nice horizontal plane where nothing is changing. The waters are calm. So we have that expanding neck, the roots going down, and that calm water, calm horizontal plane that we're singing on. Let's go back to here with our Z sound. Same thing. keeping it expansive in the throat. Jaw is relaxed. And we're going to start moving back down now. So here we go. Feel free to slide from pitch to pitch. All right, we're going to take that same Z sound and that same pattern of 1, 2, 1, 5, 1, and we're going to open it up to an E vowel. Now, I want you to try to keep the same sensation. So if that means vibration in your chest or vibration in your low throat, or maybe it's that deep feeling of expansion and roots growing down out the bottom through your pelvic floor, keep that same sensation the whole time. So we are opening up to a vowel, but I don't want you to think, oh, I'm singing. I want you to think of this still as an extension of your speaking voice. So it sounds like this. So you notice I went to an ah vowel on the bottom. That's going to be a little bit more conducive to those lower chest tones. But we're going to start with Z. Just touch the ah on the bottom and come back up. Feel free to slide through this. This is not supposed to be really exact. This is supposed to feel like stretching for your voice. Here we go. 1, 2. And think about those expanding rings. Make sure you're really connecting into the second pitch. So I'm going to show you what I mean by connecting into that second pitch. So what I don't want you to do is make a big shift or a big change as you go to that second pitch. I want you to still think about those horizontal calm waters, that horizontal plane. So if you were to make a big shift, it might sound something like this. Z. I would rather Z. No change. All right? Let's get back into it. Z. If the E vowel starts to be a little uncomfortable for you, you can switch to an oo vowel, but I still want to keep it a closed vowel on the top portion and an open vowel on the bottom portion. So if you switch to oo, it sounds like this. Zoo, ah, oo. All right, here we go. Back in. Z, ah, E or oo on the top. One more, and then we're going to come back down. All right, take a second, take a sip of water if you need to. We're going to start right where we left off and come back down. So here we are again at the top with our Z-I or our zoo-ah-woo. Ready? 1, 2. Z-I. Connecting into that open throat. Release the jaw. One more if you've got it. All right, so something that I talk about a lot is connecting your singing voice to your speaking voice. So the next exercise that we're going to do, I want you to really think about how you would speak it. So we're speaking on pitch. We're going to stick with our Z sound, and we're going to continue that feeling of openness and expansion in the throat, as well as that expansion going downward out through the pelvic floor. So it sounds a little bit like this. Zybe, zybe, zy. So you notice I'm not singing it as much as I'm speaking it on pitch. I'm trying to create a lot of inner space, and I'm connecting my Z sound to the low, chesty part of my voice. You can absolutely slide up through the Z this whole time. So again, it's 1, 2, 1 on Zybe. And we're gonna do like we did before, where we're gonna work our way up and then work our way back down. So taking a nice deep breath, letting it out, visualizing that open throat, that tree that's growing all the way down and expanding out. Connect into your Z sound. Here we go. Zybe, zybe, zy. Zybe, zybe, zy. Zybe, zybe, zy. So as we get a little bit higher, you're going to have to start adjusting to add a little bit more head tone into your sound, especially if you're a soprano. So as we do this, I want you to think about maintaining the speaking voice, and you can do that by thinking about someone like Julia Childs, for example. So we have this high soft palate, heady kind of sound where I'm still talking, but it's a little bit more melodic. So that's the sound that we're going for as we go higher. I still don't want you to sustain. I don't want you to think I'm singing. We're still on speech, okay? So I'm not sure exactly where we left off. Where were we? Here? I'm going to say we're here. This is zai, be, zai, be, zai, incorporating a little bit more height behind that sound. 1, 2. Zai, be, zai, be, zai. 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 And you'll note I always go back to the bottom with my Z sound. So I always sort of come up from the bottom, connecting in to that low larynx and that open throat feeling. Here we go again. Zai, be. Take a second, grab a sip of water. We're going to continue right where we left off with our zai, be, zai, be, zai. Up at the top, high head voicey kind of speaking. Zai, be, zai, be, zai. Still connecting your Z all the way from the bottom as you go into that head voicey spoken sound. Zai, be, zai, be, zai. Just a few more. And it should be pretty chesty again. Zai, be, zai, be, zai. Very speaky, right? Zai, be, zai, be, zai. Last one. All right, so sticking with that Z sound and still having that feeling of expansiveness, openness in the throat, connecting low in the body, we're going to do a Z sound on a chromatic scale. So we're going to do the chromatic scale up a major third and back down, starting with just the Z, and then we're going to add some vowels to that. So it sounds like this. As you do this, again, I want you to connect through the Z, through the lower part of your voice, and I want you to think about maintaining the same feeling, the same shape inside the mouth, inside the throat, the whole time. So let's do actually 2 chromatic scales, and then we'll go up a half step. Ready? Coming back down. One more. All right, now we're going to add some vowels onto that. So we're maintaining that same feeling, connecting the Z from below and then opening to our vowel without making any major adjustments on the inside. So it's going to go Z, Z sound first, followed by an E vowel, followed by an O vowel. All right, here we go. It's going to sound like this. Z, O. When you go to your O vowel, make sure it's really tall. So you want to make sure that the jaw is released and that the lips themselves create a nice O shape. All right. So it's 3 chromatic scales starting on the Z sound, coming from below. Here we go. 1, 2. Z, O. Z, O. We're going to take this a little higher this time. One more. If it's still really comfortable for you, pause this video and you can keep going up until who knows when. So now starting at the top, we're going to move our way back down. Same thing. No change in the throat. Z comes from below. Z, Two more. Last one. All right, we're going to take that last exercise and expand upon it even further. This time, when you get to your O vowel, you're going to take it up a chromatic 6th scale and back down. So it's going to sound like this. Z, O. Now my fingers are not quite as nimble as my voice, so you may hear a few mistakes here and there. Please forgive me. I'll do my best. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and Z, little higher. You're probably going to be entering into that second passaggio if you haven't already. So we're still trying to maintain a sense of groundedness and openness in the throat, okay? So still connect into that low Z guttural sound as you begin the exercise. Ready? We're right here. 1, 2, ready, and. Let's do one more. All right, grab some water. We're going to start right here and come back down. All right, so starting right where we left off. Before we do that, I want you to just take a second and reinitiate that zzz sound. Find it again in your body. Find it again in your chest. Come back to that sensation of that open throat with the expanding rings. So take a second and just do a few guttural Z sounds like this. Making sure the jaw is released, the tongue is relaxed. And we're up here. 1, 2, ready, and. Two more. Last one. All right, this is our last exercise for today. We are still connecting in to that low Z guttural sound as we begin. And it's going to sound like this. Zai bi bi, zai bi bi, zai bi bi bi. So with each successive zai, I want you to come from below. So you actually are going to scoop up through the Z sound into a nice open ah vowel. This is all about laryngeal stability. So we're trying to maintain what we've taken from the bottom as we go to the top. All right, here we go. 1, 2, ready, and. Zai bi bi, zai bi bi, zai bi bi bi. So no change in the throat as you go from the first interval to the second interval to the third interval. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and. Zai bi bi, zai bi bi, zai bi bi bi. Zai bi bi, zai bi bi, zai bi bi bi. Zai bi bi, zai And I give you permission to scoop the living daylights out of this, okay? So the Z sound always coming from below, and then we're opening above it for the top. Ready? 1, 2, here we go. Zai, baby, zai, baby, zai, baby. You can breathe anywhere you need to. And we're going to take this up high. So drop out if you need to. Where are my sopranos and tenors at? Here comes the high C. All right, you're going to get another chance to do that high C, but take a second, get some water. We're going to come back and start at the top and bring it back down. All right, so starting where we left off. Remember, you can always scoop from below to get to that top pitch. I want you to keep everything stable, low, expanded, open. All right, here we go. Zai. Zai, baby. Zai, baby. Zai, baby. My mic probably didn't like that. Zai, baby, zai, baby, zai, baby. A few more. Coming back into that chest register. Zai, baby, zai, baby. All right, great job today.